Again.
I'm ready.
You ready now?
How's my hair?
Your hair? It's as good as it's going to get.
Okay, go.
Hi, Lauren, and welcome to HEA. I think I should introduce myself. Hi, I'm Anthony LeDonne. I'm Ms. Layne's husband, and today I'm going to be reading on behalf of Mary Dubé.
Interviewing.
Yes.
Okay, so a little background information. I'm Lauren Layne. This is my husband, Anthony, reading on behalf of the lovely Mary Dubé from HEA.
Yep.
And we thought that a video interview would be a fun way to get to know me and my new book. But Mary and I are not in the same state, ergo,
Right now.
her replacement. So bear with us.
Should we just get started on the interview?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
And we can perhaps cut this part.
Hi, Lauren, and welcome to HEA.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome, Lauren. I don't think it's any secret that I'm a big fan, and I'm thrilled to be able to chat with you today. Hot Acid is smart, romantic, sexy, and quite interesting due to its Wall Street setting. Tell readers about it, your inspiration for it, and the new series, 21 Wall Street.
I would love to, Mary. So this is Hot Asset. This is my newest book coming out on May 22nd. And yeah, it's the first book in my new series. As Mary said, the series is 21 Wall Street. And really my inspiration for this was I really like writing about hot guys in suits. I did that a little bit already with my Oxford series and I loved it. Wanted to do something similar but a little bit different. Started thinking what would be a kind of fun New York environment that I hadn't done yet. And immediately I thought of Wall Street or the financial district, which if you're looking at Manhattan, it's that little tiny, the spot in the corner or the bottom.
The tip.
Thank you. Well, okay.
Most interesting part.
Don't know how PG we have to be on this, but okay. So it's about 3 Wall Street guys. They work for Wolf Investments. Intentional name, doing a fun little play on the Wolf of Wall Street. They are party boys, playboys. They're the bachelors of Manhattan. And this particular one is Ian Bradley, who kind of comes from a rough background, but works his way up to the top.
Okay, so the heroine, Laura, works for the SEC and is investigating Ian for insider trading. How did you research for this book?
Well, I didn't really. No, I did. So for those of you who don't know, because I didn't know, SEC stands for the Securities and Exchange Commission. And the short version of that, it's a government branch or agency that investigates white-collar crimes. But really it was Google is very handy. And in order to sort of get the tone, I did watch the HBO show Billions.
So you've mentioned on social media that you often get up at 5 a.m. What's up with that?
Yes. Well, if this guy switches gears a little bit to husband instead of Mary for a while, we actually both get up at 5 a.m.
That's true.
Most of the time. And I think it's just, I really, really, really like my job and my life. And the earlier I can get started, the better. The later I get up, the more fussy I feel because I feel like I slept the day away. I like to get up and get started.
Which character of yours do you relate to the most?
I'm probably a little bit like some of my more prickly heroines.
So you're in a prickly mood right now.
Apparently. No, I think I'm not particularly outgoing. I'm not really a hugger. I guess I can be kind of smiley, but like not necessarily. So maybe like Emma from The Trouble with Love, Bryn from Made for You, Taylor from I Knew You Were Trouble. That tends to be a little bit more me, maybe a little bit more sarcastic and a little bit drier. But I do have Chloe from Crushed is one of my favorite heroines, and her sense of humor is very like my sense of humor. She's just a little bit more gregarious about it. So yeah, any of my heroines that are maybe a little bit harder to get to know and reserved, that's probably me. Would you agree? Talk about ad-libbing now.
Yeah, I would agree. Although I think I don't think you give yourself enough credit for being outgoing and gregarious when you need to be. Like I've seen you switch gears instantaneously. You know, if it's an impromptu get together or people come over or a dinner party or something, like you can switch it on.
I can fake it. No, actually, some of
my. If that's faking it, then you're pretty good at faking it. Which character is most like your husband?
Oh, it's another good one. So basically the opposite of what I just said about myself. He is very gregarious. So any of the more charming, outgoing, the ones that like tease and are very, very friendly. So I'd say Jake from Love the One You're With, Josh from For Better or Worse. You're very friendly. So not Andrew from Walk of Shame, not Mitchell from After the Kiss. Like there's no reserved anything in this guy. Which of my heroes did you read and be like, that's me?
I mean, in a certain sense, all of them. I know, I'm not saying that you wrote that, but it's hard for me to read your books and not see like parts of myself in every single hero.
Do you think that's my talent at work?
I mean, it could be my universal personality.
Yeah, or it could be like one of those agree to disagree sort of things.
What has been the highlight of your writing career so far? I mean, was it hitting the New York Times bestseller list or this interview, perhaps?
Definitely this interview. If you were Mary, actually Mary. No, New York Times was a really big deal. Actually, the one that stands out even a little bit more than that was when I made USA Today for the first time, technically the second time.
So if your husband had to describe your writing style, how do you think he would describe it?
Well, Mary, let's ask him. How would you describe my writing style, Anthony?
It's funny. So, I mean,
funny.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind, because I appreciate humor, and I love the snarky banter among all your characters. Like, there's not a point in your book, there's no book where I'm not laughing. Like, I just love how the characters always talk to each other, the observations that they have of one another. It's funny. And like, you have an uncanny ability to compress, like raise the tension in every scene, and it pays off in every one. Like, I enjoy reading your books.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm back as Mary now. Mary Dubé.
So I will not blow a kiss at you.
You can.
Hey, Mary.
Okay, so as Mary, my parents are literary snobs and have never understood why I love romance novels. I mean, I gave my mother a romance novel so she could at least have an informed opinion, and it was one of your books, actually. It was For Better or Worse.
Oh, I love that one.
She actually really enjoyed it, and it's the only romance she's ever read. Here's the question. Do your parents read your books?
Well, first of all, let me say I do understand the snobbery thing, not just from a family perspective. It's common. Snobbery against romance is very frequent, even when you write it, and even when you make a living at it, people will still put it down. In terms of my parents, they are not romance fans. Even my mom, I think she's probably read a couple, before I got started in the career. I don't think either of them particularly would call themselves romance fans now. In terms of whether they read it, my dad is forbidden. I just can't even fathom the prospect of my dad or my father-in-law, because he is also forbidden. There's no way his dad is allowed to read my books. But I think my mom has read a few. Usually she'll ask me, because she's not necessarily a fan of more steamy scenes in general, and then also knowing her daughter wrote them, I think is maybe a little uncomfortable. But she is supportive, and she does usually check in with me first. Like, I've forbidden her from reading Good Girl. It's one of my steamier ones. But some of the ones that are maybe a little less, she does read them.
Well, and to give your dad and my dad credit, they both support your career.
They do.
I mean, your dad will take your books into his office, distribute them around.
He definitely does. He'll talk me up, if he's out to dinner, out to bars, any female around. Like, have you heard about my daughter? So they are very supportive in their own way. They just don't read it, and that really is at my request. Although his dad has threatened to read this book.
But
so Anthony's dad, Tony, is one of the ones that actually helped me with the research. I should have given him a call out before. So he knows quite a bit about Wall Street and finance and all of that, and he directed me towards Billions. So little shout out to him. He's not allowed to read it. He keeps threatening. Tony, if you're watching this, please don't read this book, but thank you for the help.
You might. Okay, so next question is, which of your books was the hardest to write, and why?
There have been a few that are hard to write, and I don't really know the why. I can never quite figure that out. For whatever reason, books that are trilogies, so The Wedding Bells, New York's Finest, the Redemption series, for some reason the third books in the series are always a little bit harder, and I think it might be because the pressure feels a little bit high. If I know that I'm writing the last book in a series, I know that I have to wrap everything up. I know that usually readers are really waiting for that particular story because I've been teasing it for 2 books prior. Cuff Me stands out as being very difficult to love and to cherish. Any books that are a little bit longer tend to be harder for me. I tend to, in general, write pretty short. And so if it's a longer story or has a little bit more plot, that takes me a little bit longer, obviously, because the book is longer.
Well, and no matter how difficult or easy it is for you to write, we as readers, and I'm not saying as Mary necessarily, because I actually read all of her books, we as readers appreciate it, because they're always great.
Thank you.
They always deliver.
Anthony/Mary.
I'm not biased at all.
Mm-mm.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Please consider buying or pre-ordering, depending when this interview comes out. Hot Asset. It's available on Amazon and Kindle, paperback.
And it comes out Tuesday,
May 22nd,
right.
2018.
In case you're viewing this in like 2046.
Right. This is going to be a classic.
The rubble of the post-apocalyptic. What?
Wow, you went dark.
Oh no, I don't know where we were going.
Okay, we're going to wrap this. Sorry, Mary, for hijacking your interview.
It's okay.
Yes. And thank you to HEA for having me. Thank you, Anthony, for reading the part of Mary. And thank you to Mary for sending over these excellent interview questions.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. Me, Mary Dubé, reading interviewing Ms. Lauren Layne on her newest release, Hot Asset, coming out Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018. Pre-order now.